All right, guys. So there's a lot going on right now. This is May 2021 is when we're recording this. So there's so many different things. There's masks, there's don't masks, there's vaccinations, don't vaccinations. There's like David and I are in the US. Michelle, you're in Canada. So countries are to have different interactions. But what I wanted to bring up is dancing with a mask on versus how much of a different beast dancing in general is than just working out, right?
Mhm.
Me personally, I have I got the COVID weight, and then my two neighbors COVID's weight. Like I put on more weight than I ever have before. And it is what it is. So really recently, I'd say the past couple of weeks, yeah, a couple weeks before that or whatever. So a handful of weeks, I've been really trying to work out every day. We've got an elliptical at the house. It's nothing fancy, but it's exercise. And I've been just daily exercise, feeling good. All right, I'm making progress. And then I went out social dancing the other night and it didn't matter. It didn't help. It didn't help at all. I felt completely out of shape. I needed breaks all the time.
Ah,
So dancing, I think, is just a different beast as far as working out. And I've even talked to other people who are like, a friend of mine, he said, I'm active. I play tennis. I like work out. I'm outside. I'm building that immune system. I'm just as active now as I ever was, minus like the social stuff. And he came out dancing and he said, by song two, I needed a break. I needed like a 2 song break. It's
yeah. And David, you were saying the same thing off of camera with
Yeah.
the craziness that, you're used to hosting or being able to go dancing and feel like you could just go song after song and not need to stop. But we have a few different limitations right now that prevent us from being able to just do. And that is one, the mask, which is changing our oxygen. And two, the reality that our physical fitness levels and regular lifestyle are totally different. We're doing a lot less, whether it be not doing the stairs because we're not going to work, whether we're not doing the same walks, whether we're not as active. And of course, Kelly, you brought up a huge point. Dance is fascinating to me, and I always enjoy that aspect of teaching, that it is one of the most full body passive exercises that you can do that incorporates so many muscles and stability, that you are doing different things even if you're not like super aerobic in it. It has its own level of improvement in your body. So without that being present, you guys go out there and dance again and you're like, what the, because this just feels really daunting. It's like all of a sudden you're like, what happened to my body? So David, have you had the same experience, just a little
Oh
bit
my
like,
God, have I ever? Yeah, no, definitely. And so I think like Kelly, I put on some extra pounds. I
like
just,
everybody, that's part of what's gone, like the COVID
right.
weight, right?
And so getting out everywhere I go, I'm definitely wearing a mask when I dance. And it hasn't been a long time yet, right? And so that, as you said, it's contributing to just how much air you're getting. And I'm taking more breaks, and I'm even like stepping outside when I can to just like pull off the mask and do some deep inhales and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I also noticed it with my joints. So I
Ah,
was out the other day dancing, and 1 hour into the dancing, all of a sudden I'm like stepping into like a merengue press, and my knee went, ugh! And I'm like, and I could not. That was it for the evening. I could dance, but I
oh,
could not do any like a an East Coast swing. That was it.
yep.
No more East Coast swing tonight, because you have that kind of motion, right? When you do that dance, and my knee was just like, no, it's not happening. Forget
yeah.
it, fella, right? And so I'm not sure if that was related, but I haven't been doing that kind of action as much, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
And Kelly, you said you had a Lindy Hop night just recently, and it was like, woohoo, Lindy Hop in a mask. There is
Yeah.
quite the recipe. That's
Yeah.
top stuff.
Yeah, it was because I just recently, I'd say in the past couple of weeks, started going out social dancing too. And so like still timid about it, still only once, maybe twice a week, nothing crazy. And it hasn't been an issue. It's been like, okay, I gotta take a break. It's not that bad. But that night, like it was Thursday night, and it just kicked me in the butt. I don't know what it was, maybe because I was like excited and dancing a little harder. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like David said, you said it's like your joints. I feel like I'm a 90-year-old trapped in my body because by the end of the night, my joints don't work. Like I'm stiff-legged, like kind of like wobbling to my car. And then the next day, my feet are like, what did you do last night? Bro, where's the Advil? What's happening? Like, yeah, it's
You
crazy.
know, it's really funny to, funny, not funny, haha, at all, but more of interest that, you know, our bodies get so accustomed to the same activity. So if we've removed something that used to be really normal for us, we don't necessarily feel it until we reintroduce. So here is the interesting thing, right? You can go ahead and walk or do whatever you're doing or go on the elliptical, but that is not a syncopated step with a knee bend, with ankle control, with anything to do with, oh my goodness, so many things going on. So that's the amazing benefit, but also the inherent sort of like, right now with dance, that when you reintroduce this and you all get back out there and you're back on the dance floor, your body's going to be like, what are you doing to me? Where have you been? Because it's going to feel really new. You're going to feel 90, even if you're not even close, because it really does take its toll. So yeah, this is where we want some feedback from you as well, because I know my general vibe from my student base is that in the beginning of the pandemic, being a part of dance and making that part of your world was easier to do then than it is now. So in the beginning, people were like dancing in their driveways and in their garage. And
right. It was really creative. It was, you saw
just like, let's do this.
TikToks, all this stuff happened. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you know, distance does this thing and time creates this disconnect, which is really, unfortunately, unhealthy, and we miss it all. But you're going to have a little rebuild as you get back into dancing again. And we need to talk about all these crazy things.
And I think that rebuild happens at a couple of different levels, right? So there's the physicality of it all, but just even the social aspects that we've lost a lot of those social contacts from our dance world and dance community. And just mentally, like just remembering how to dance and, you know, forgetting certain patterns and combinations and stuff that we used to love to do, but for lack of having done them in over a year, right? It's like, oh, wait a minute, how did that work again, right? You start losing certain muscle memory. At least it takes a little while to start having it come back.
Yeah, I think everything gets a little dusty and it gets a little cloudy, and you all need to trust that it's in there. It's just, you need to find it, and you need to be patient with yourself as you get the dust off. And that muscle memory is so ingrained, but it's probably pretty buried, and you need to work at moving those cobwebs bit by bit. And you also need to make sure that you take care of your body, because those little creaks and different things that happen when we feel like we're 90 and we're nowhere near are just because your body just needs a little bit more of it. But be careful and be patient so that you don't hurt yourself. And the whole oxygen thing with the breathing, people need to be very aware of how they feel with that, because, you know, you could pass out if you're not careful, right? You're limiting the amount of flow. And then if you go and exert yourself in a high energetic dance, or I know that for me, I often will have to remind students to breathe, because you forget the basic things. You forget. You're thinking about whatever, you're trying to remember your step, and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah. So yes, all of those little things, but now with the barrier of a mask, right? There's so many other things to count and consider. So
yeah, I feel like me personally, I have to be more, how do I say this, forgiving of myself, because like you said, David, there's some of my go-to tricks that I have no idea where they went. They're on vacation right now, and they'll be back in the office when they're back in the office. I don't know what to tell you.
New tricks have gone.
Exactly. I'm like, guess what? You get another tuck turn. Aren't you a teacher? Yep, you get another tuck turn. I don't have to tell you. This is where I'm at right now. This is what's in my muscle memory. So I'm allowing myself to be more patient with myself, that I know it'll come back. But Rome wasn't built in a day. My dancing's not going to be back to where it was after a year off in one time. Like, it's just not. It's unrealistic. So,
you know what I love? I love that on a teacher perspective, David, you are a very established social dancer as a host, and just in your amazingness of what you know. And it's a very strong passion of yours, and you're very skilled at it. What I'm trying to say is that people need to feel a level of comfort in the transparency that Kelly and I are talking about as teachers, that, you know, we forget too. So feel, not forget, we get cloudy, and you know, those little combos are like, oh, I love that little, what was that? And you just forget because it's not your everyday.
Yeah.
So when you do something, you know, 5 to 7 hours a day, every day, you don't have to think about it because it is right there available to you. But we've had this pandemic. So whether you're a very avid social dancer and very, like, you know, developed, or you're a teacher like Kelly and I, it still gets cloudy. So just find some comfort in that and be kind to yourself. Like Kelly was saying, find a way to just be patient with yourself as you try to rebuild, right? Because you've got to rebuild a whole bunch of things. Your muscles need to be, you know, treated well. Your brain needs to remember what the heck you're doing. And then we get the joy of socially dancing and saying hi to all these people that we know and love and want to be with. So there's a whole lot that we're all waiting for.
So please be patient with your instructors as well. In other words.
I love it. Like, don't you know this? Why don't you know this? I do, but it's in the other book.
Yeah, right. David, like you had mentioned, I can't remember if you mentioned it while recording, but you had mentioned it, I think, pre-recording, that you're working from home. So even the simple things of commuting to work and walking and moving, now that's gone, right? And I think a lot of people need to realize that, because the amount of people that shifted to work to home is so astronomical, because most places had to close down, like the physical location. So I think people also need to realize that it's going to be even harder getting back into dancing and getting those go-to moves, because a lot of people just, their commute is bedroom to office. And sometimes not even that. Sometimes they just pull the laptop over and just, they're in bed while they're working. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm guilty of that.
Right. And it occurred to me at one point, like as we're months into this, that little bit of exercise, I'm just walking from your car through a parking lot, through a building, the stairs in the building, perhaps, right? On any, not having that for a day or a couple of days it's nothing. But after months, that little bit of extra exercise, it starts to have a cumulative effect, right? Mm-hmm. And so
does the access to everyone's refrigerator has a cumulative effect.
That's true too.
So here's the thing: we don't have the stairs at work. We don't have any of that, but the fridge is right there, and it has all the things that we love, and we're sitting a lot more, and we don't have all that. So these are just crazy little things that create everything that everyone is going through. This is not unique to just Kelly or just David or just me. This is this crazy world that all of us collectively have had some kind of suffering from. And it is the convenience of food and being home and less activity and less dance. And so this is really meant to highlight those things, but also encourage you that there is light on the other side of this that we're all starting to see. Mm-hmm. And you just have to take baby steps to get there. Walk a little more, maybe go for the apple rather than the brownie.
Hey, now, wait a minute. Hold on.
Wait a minute. Did I go too far, Kelly?
Yeah, those are extreme steps.
Yeah, right.
Well, I have to say, I'm so glad that it's now summer, because it's certainly easier to get out a little bit more, go for walks, do things. We'll probably start kayaking and stuff a little bit more too. But yeah, I think it was in the winter that it really hit me, right? I started realizing, wow. And you have all the, in the US at end of November, you have Thanksgiving and then Christmas and all these things that are not helping with the food intake, but it tends to be a time when you're a little bit more sedentary as well.
Absolutely. One of the nice things that I noticed here in Ontario, for those of you that don't know where I am, I'm the only Canadian on the panel, but we've had this insane heat wave over the last week or two, and we have this, like, what was it yesterday, 30, like it's just gorgeously it feels like August, David, like it's hot. But what this is so nice is that it's doing what everybody needs. It feels like everybody's coming out of their shell. People are out on their front porch. There's a lot more people walking. People are riding their bikes, and they're starting to engage in more activity and getting out of the indoors. And, hopefully that's going to help everyone feel a little bit better. I know even on a personal side, on the home front, I feel that there's a better energy just because people are getting more sunlight. They're outside, we're getting more fresh air without a mask. And it's good. I think that the season is definitely a game changer. It's going to make people feel better. Okay, now it's your turn. You viewers, you need to let us know how this is working for you. David and Kelly have given us a really decent idea of the struggles of, you know, all of this. The focus has been a little bit more about, you know, exercise and dancing and going, oh God, what happened to my body? So let us know what this is for you. Are you still dancing at home? Are you doing less than you were a year ago? Are you feeling pretty good? Is your body sore? Let us know. We want your feedback. David, how do they tell us?
They can reach us at info@talk.dance. And I know we have viewers around the world, so we're kind of curious what the dance scene is like currently where you are. So
yes, let us know.